Hello, this is Noisy Ray, and we're going to do a review on Sacred 2: Fallen Angel. I like to start off my reviews with a rating. And my rating for this game is a whopping 9 out of 10. Yes, 9 out of 10. It is an amazing game, and anybody who likes RPGs and likes to kill a lot, and likes a good little bit of gore and their killing, this is the game for you. Now, the plot line of this game is basically good versus evil. There's this substance in the game called T-energy, which is this weird type of energy that is being used by what they call the Inquisition, which is, they're not technically evil, but that's what you would basically get off the game. And this T-energy is being spread throughout the land and mutating the enemies, and, well, not the enemies, but the wildlife, and destroying the environment. And then there's the light side. Can't really tell you what the name of the light side is. It's not exactly set out in the game. Mostly just the Sephirim, which I'll talk about in just a moment. You know, they're trying to stop it, and basically you have two campaigns. You have the light campaign and the dark campaign, which obviously the light campaign is going against the dark campaign. What's special about this game mostly is the characters. There are 6 characters that you can choose from: the Sephirim, Temple Guardian, Inquisitor, Shadow Warrior, High Elf, and Dryad. Now, each of these characters has their own special thing about them, such as the Sephirim is a god-like creature. She's not a god, but she's like, you know, she's the holy one of the 6 characters. Whereas the Inquisitor is obviously the darker one of the characters. Sephirim is basically a well-balanced out character, has her own special magic, has her own special attacks. She's more of a beginning character, whereas the Inquisitor has his special attacks, his special dark and stuff, and he is basically more for experienced players. All of the other characters can be light or dark. It's really your choice, but as for the Sephirim and the Inquisitor, they can only stay for whichever class they are meant for. Let's talk about this game, like the environment, the map. Holy crap, it's a huge map, I'm serious. This is a giant game, like crazy giant. I've gone through the game a lot, and I still haven't done too much in it. There's so many quests, so many little side quests, and so many quests that you have to do. Like, on the back of the cover of the game, it says there's over 600 quests, and they're not lying. I've done so many quests, and I haven't even done half of them. It's just amazing. The leveling up in this game is pretty simple. Every time you level up, you go to your tributes, and you pretty much pick whichever tribute you want to level up. And after you do your tributes, you get these points that you can add to your combat arts, or whatever. Not combat arts, but you can basically get the gist of it. You add them to something, and then it helps with other things. Weapons in this game. Weapons are so easy to find. Now, whether they're good or not, it really depends on what you're into. Certain characters, I like the Dryad. The Dryad is mostly meant for ranging, and has her own special type of weapon. Like, it's called a blow dart, pretty much. It's like a little tube, you know, like how the Indians used to have, and well, maybe not Indians, but shoot little darts through the blow tubes and pretty much hurts enemies. Yeah. And you can dual wield, and you can carry heavy hammers, and you can use bows, and you can use, you know, basically good RPG weapons. Magic in this game. Magic is slightly limited per characters. Each character has their own set of combat arts. Usually there's an area of combat arts per character, such as the Sephirim and definitely the Shadow Warrior, where you can basically it's mostly physical attacks. But there is usually magic that you can be used. Even for the Shadow Warrior, I believe there's magic, mostly summoning, but if you really want to get magic, of course you would use the high elf. You know, pretty much anything with elf in it basically means magic galore. She's got amazing magic, and yeah, basically basics of that. This environment. This is a huge game, and it's just the environment is just amazing. The graphics are really good. There's so much, especially the NPCs. The NPCs are just, you'll find them just talking amongst themselves randomly, or singing, or just doing random stuff, you know, just being themselves. They're like little tiny people in a game, and each one of them has their own little personality, and you pretty much find them throughout the whole game in random places, whether they're enemies or just random townsfolk, you know. One of the most interesting things about the environment and is this game is that it changes. It's not just like, hey, I'm going to be day all the time, or I'm going to rain in a specific spot. It'll rain pretty much anywhere, depending on the weather, or it'll turn day and it'll turn night. There are certain places like the swamp, which will just completely stay raining the whole time, and it'll always seem dark. But many other places will be bright and turn to dark depending on the time in which you play the game. Difficulty. If you're an RPG player and you're tired of playing RPGs where it just gets to become where you're so overpowered, it's not a problem in this game because all the enemies level up with you. I mean, might be one of the only flaws that I can see in this game. Not a flaw, but it's just, wow, the enemies just get so hard. I've died like several times trying to do this review. But yes, enemies, no worries about them ever becoming too low powered because you get destroyed if you're not paying attention. The little rat that you saw in the beginning of the game, yeah, he's gonna come back to bite you again. I promise you. He'll level up too. Just because you're level 30 doesn't mean he's not level 32. Bosses in this game. I really wish I could have got some footage of me fighting a boss, and I tried to, but I pretty much fought all the bosses that I can at the moment. Bosses are just most epic battles I've ever had in the game. They're amazingly hard, but they're really fun. Now, the biggest thing about this game, like the biggest, most amazing thing about that makes this game a good game, other than the actual single player, is the multiplayer. Now, the game has multiplayer just for the Xbox. Not just online, but just for the Xbox, and that is only 2 players. But when you have online, like Xbox Live, you can have up to 2 to 4 players. And special thing about it is also that you can PvP, player versus player. I haven't done that myself, so I can't say much about it, but you can do it, which means, basically, there's a lot to do with the game. Multiplayer is really fun. The only thing is, though, when people enter a game together, the enemies do get harder, which is a good thing. It doesn't make it to where you're overpowered against the enemies. The enemies get harder, and things get better. There are a few flaws in the game. You know, any game has flaws, just glitches and small little things. I've wound up finding myself stuck inside a gate that I don't even know how I got inside there while I was teleporting throughout the map. Just little things, basically, that you'd find in a game. Not that bad, which is why I bring it down to a 9 instead of a 10. Just because of the small flaws and little tiny frustrations I've had to deal with between falling into places that I wasn't meant to be falling into. But yeah, pretty much this game is a really good RPG, especially in multiplayer. You have, you know, if you're a nerd and you like games, this is a good game. 2 to 4 players online is pretty dang good. I mean, most nerds don't even have that many friends, but not to put anybody out there, but yeah. And I mean, it's a good game. It's a good game. 9 out of 10, that's my rating, and I hope you enjoyed this review. Kind of long, but, you know, that's a good game for you. This is Sacred 2, Fallen Angel. I would buy it, rent it, like it, buy it, good. Good. Good.